Welcome to DIYEasyCrafts.com, how to carve a three-dimensional wooden heart out of a piece of firewood. Now this heart was designed to be standing or displayed on a stand. It's three-dimensional, so you can display either side of it. And I started out just with a cut section off of a piece of firewood that I found out in the yard. I cut maybe about a 3-inch section of this, and I just drew the heart shape onto it. I used a black magic marker so it'd be easy to see. I'm going to use a jigsaw to cut this project out. The blade that I'm using for that jigsaw is slightly longer than the standard blade. It's a 4.5-inch blade, just because of the thickness of this wood. It's also a very coarse teeth on that blade. It makes it a little bit easier. Even so, it takes a little bit of effort to cut this out. It's not quite as easy as cutting a standard piece of pine from the hardwood from Home Depot. But anyway, it doesn't take all that long, and you can finish cutting out the basic shape of the heart. You can see the thickness of the wood there. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to move to a disc grinder with a flap sanding wheel to start to round over all of those edges, all of those corners. Before I do that, I'm just going to take a minute and drill a 3/8-inch hole right through the bottom of the heart, and I'm going to use a 3/8 dowel later on in order to mount this to a stand. This is the flap sanding wheel on the disc grinder, and I started to stand this. This was an old wheel. I had done a couple of metal as well as wood projects with it, and it was pretty worn out. So I wasn't getting very far very fast. I basically gave up. Went back to Home Depot and picked up a brand new flap sanding wheel. Came back the next day. This is a 40 grit, and it really rips through the material very, very quickly. You can see that I also drew a line about halfway down the whole outline of the heart, and that's just to give me a visual reference as to how far to round over each side, so that I'm rounding over the front and the half, and I'm really just rounding them over until they meet that line. And again, this is a very coarse sanding wheel. It does a quick job of this. And you do have to go back and forth and try to get down or round over as many of those hard edges as possible. Once one side is done, we're just going to flip it over and do the exact same thing on the other side. Just going to round over all of those edges until it meets that center line that I drew along the whole outside diameter. You can see how fast this disc grinder rips through this material. I'm not sure, but I think this is just a piece of pine. You can also use that disc grinder to add a little bit of contours towards the top of the heart and just shape it a little bit. Once we're done with the disc grinder, I'm just going to move to an oscillating sander. I started with an 80 grit, and I just back and forth. It does take a little bit of time. You want to round over as many of those hard edges as possible, kind of smooth everything out. The end result is you want to keep sanding, and after you're done with the 80 grit, I moved to a 220, and I spent a little bit more time getting rid of all of the scratch marks from the 80 and really polishing everything as smooth as possible with that 220 grit. A final step is I took some 400 grit sandpaper and just did a little bit of sanding by hand. And this was good for the sides and all the edges. Hand works really nice to make those contours. Next step is just going to be to mount this onto a stand. I took that 3/8 dowel. I didn't even glue it in place. I just kind of inserted it. The weight of this piece of firewood is going to hold it in position. I found this mounting plaque at Home Depot. It was actually in the molding section. I think it was in the hand railing section of the molding section. And it was already routed, so it just drilled a 3/8 hole through the center of that, and that's going to be the stand. I will stain that molding. But for the heart itself, I'm just going to use oil. This is a butcher's block oil, It protects the wood. Hopefully it will prevent future cracks. There are some really cool cracks already in this piece of wood that were in the firewood. And I kind of chose this sliver almost because of those cracks. It adds a lot of character. And this is the finished product. A three-dimensional heart makes a great Valentine's Day gift. It can be displayed, on a shelf or on a countertop, and very easy to make. You can display either side. On this particular one, the cracks are on one side and not on the other. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please check us out on the web at DIYEasyCrafts.com. Be sure to check out our other how-to videos. And if you like this video, I ask that you please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this YouTube channel.